Something happened to a man I will call Robert 3 years ago. He was sitting at the kitchen table after breakfast. Suddenly, for about 2 minutes, his right hand felt strange, weak, like it did not belong to him. Then his vision went blurry on one side. Then his speech slurred slightly when he tried to call his wife. Then, just as quickly as it started, it stopped. All of it. 2 minutes. Gone. Robert felt completely normal again. He assumed he had a funny turn. Maybe he stood up too quickly. Maybe his blood sugar dropped. Maybe he was just tired. He did not call his doctor. 3 days later, Robert had a massive stroke. He spent 4 months in rehabilitation. He never fully regained the use of his right arm. What Robert experienced at the kitchen table was not a funny turn. It was not low blood sugar. It was not tiredness. It was his body sending him the most urgent warning signal the human nervous system can produce. And nobody had ever told him what it meant. Today, we are telling you. Here is the number that should stop you right now. 40% of all major strokes are preceded by a warning stroke, a TIA, in the days or weeks before. 40%. That means nearly half of all major strokes give a warning first, a clear, specific, recognizable warning, and most people who experience that warning either do not recognize it or dismiss it as something minor. The window between a warning stroke and a major stroke is the most critical window in stroke prevention that exists. Treatment during this window reduces the risk of a major stroke by up to 80%. 80%, but only if you act. So what exactly is a warning stroke? Your brain is fed by a network of arteries carrying oxygen-rich blood. When one of those arteries is temporarily blocked by a small clot, by a piece of arterial plaque that breaks loose, the area of the brain that artery feeds stops working. For a brief period, usually minutes, sometimes up to an hour, that area of the brain is not functioning. Then the blockage clears, the clot dissolves, blood flow returns, the brain starts working again, the symptoms disappear, the person feels completely normal. This is a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, warning stroke. The damage was temporary, the danger was not, because that clot or that piece of plaque did not disappear. It is still in the system. And the next time it, or another piece, blocks an artery, the blockage may not clear on its own. The next blockage may be permanent, and a permanent blockage is a stroke. Now here is the most important part of this video, the symptoms of a warning stroke. Learn these, write them down, share this video so the people you love know them too. The first symptom is sudden weakness or numbness on one side of the body. One side, not both. One arm that suddenly feels weak or heavy. One hand that stops gripping properly. One side of the face that feels numb or droops slightly. One leg that feels unreliable for a moment. This is your brain's left or right hemisphere briefly losing blood supply. The left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. The right side of the brain controls the left side, so a blockage on one side produces symptoms on the opposite side. It lasts minutes, then it clears, and most people say, "That was strange," and move on. Do not move on. The second symptom is sudden vision change in one eye or on one side, not blurry vision from tired eyes. Sudden loss of vision in one eye, like a curtain dropping over part of your vision, or sudden double vision, or vision that goes completely dark briefly. This is called amaurosis fugax when it affects one eye. The artery supplying the eye is a branch of the same system that feeds the brain. When it gets temporarily blocked, the vision cuts out, and then comes back. People who experience this almost always think they need new glasses, or that they looked at a light too long, or that they were just tired. They are not tired. Their eye is telling them their carotid artery is in serious trouble. The second symptom is sudden vision change in one eye or on one side, not blurry vision from tired eyes. Sudden loss of vision in one eye, like a curtain dropping over part of your vision, or sudden double vision, or vision that goes completely dark briefly. This is called amaurosis fugax when it affects one eye. The artery supplying the eye is a branch of the same system that feeds the brain. When it gets temporarily blocked, the vision cuts out and then comes back. People who experience this almost always think they need new glasses, or that they looked at a light too long, or that they were just tired. They are not tired. Their eye is telling them their carotid artery is in serious trouble. The third symptom is sudden difficulty speaking or understanding speech. You try to say a word and the wrong word comes out, or you cannot find any word at all for a moment, or someone says something to you and the words reach your ears but your brain cannot make sense of them for a few seconds. This is different from the word-finding difficulty of normal aging we discuss on Channel 1. This is sudden, dramatic, and it resolves completely within minutes. If you or someone near you suddenly cannot speak normally or cannot understand what is being said and then it clears, this is an emergency. The fourth symptom is sudden severe headache with no cause. Not a tension headache, not a sinus headache, not a headache from stress or dehydration, a sudden severe headache that arrives at full intensity immediately, often described as the worst headache of my life, sometimes called a thunderclap headache. This symptom more specifically suggests bleeding in the brain rather than a blockage, but either way, a sudden severe headache with no obvious cause is a neurological emergency. Do not take a painkiller and lie down. Call emergency services. The fifth symptom is sudden loss of balance or coordination. You are walking normally and suddenly you cannot coordinate your steps. You stumble. You reach for the wall. You feel like the floor shifted under you. Not regular dizziness. Not the inner ear balance problem we discussed on Channel 1. Sudden, severe, unexpected loss of coordination, particularly combined with any of the other symptoms on this list, is a warning that the part of the brain controlling movement and balance has briefly lost its blood supply. Now here is what most people get wrong about these symptoms. They are brief. That is the whole problem. They last 2 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at most in a typical TIA. And because they are brief, because the person feels completely normal again afterward, the assumption is always the same. It was nothing. I am fine now. No need to bother anyone. That assumption has cost millions of people their independence, their movement, their speech, and their lives. The briefness of the symptoms is not reassurance. The briefness of the symptoms is the definition of a TIA. It does not mean it was not serious. It means the window is open, and it will not stay open for long. Let me tell you what should have happened when Robert's hand went weak at the kitchen table. He should have called emergency services immediately, not his doctor, not a family member. Emergency services, because the evaluation needed after a TIA is not something that happens in a doctor's office the following week. In hospital, after a suspected TIA, doctors can perform a brain scan to check for damage, an ultrasound of the carotid arteries in the neck to check for dangerous plaque, an ECG to check for atrial fibrillation, an irregular heart rhythm that throws clots into the bloodstream, blood tests to check clotting ability and cholesterol. Within 24 hours of a TIA, a specific risk assessment, called the ABCD2 score, can calculate precisely how high the risk of a major stroke in the next 48 hours is. And high-risk patients can be started on treatment immediately that dramatically reduces that risk. Blood thinners, antiplatelet medicines, blood pressure control, statins, all of these, started urgently after a TIA, reduce the subsequent stroke risk by up to 80%. Robert could have walked out of hospital the next morning with medicines that may have prevented everything that came after. Instead, he went to bed. The FAST acronym, you may have heard of it, but here is the updated version. BFAST. Each letter is a warning sign. B is for balance. Sudden loss of balance or coordination. E is for eyes. Sudden vision change in one or both eyes. F is for face. One side of the face drooping or feeling numb. A is for arms. One arm weak, numb, or drifting downward when both are raised. S is for speech. Slurred speech, wrong words, or difficulty understanding. T is for time. Time to call emergency services. Right now. Not in a moment. Now. Any single one of these, even if it resolves within minutes, is a reason to call emergency services. Not a reason to wait and see, a reason to call. 3 things to do from this video. First, learn the BFAST signs. Write them on a piece of paper and put them somewhere visible. On the fridge, by the bed, in your wallet. Not because you will necessarily need them, but because when you need them, you will have seconds to act and no time to remember. Second, share this video with everyone in your family. The person most likely to recognize a TIA happening to you is not you. It is the person sitting next to you, the person across the dinner table, the person in the car with you. The family member who watches this video today may be the person who saves your life tomorrow. Third, if you have already had something that sounded like the symptoms we described, even months ago, even once, even briefly, please see your doctor this week and tell them specifically what happened. It may be nothing, but it may be something that still needs investigation, and the conversation costs nothing. Robert's story does not have to be your story. The warning was there. The window was open. The medicine existed. The only thing missing was knowledge. You have it now. Call emergency services at the first sign. Every minute matters. Nearly 2 million brain cells die every minute a stroke goes untreated. Do not let yours be among them. Share this video today. You do not know whose life you are protecting by doing so. Subscribe for a new video every week. Information your appointment does not have time to deliver. I will see you in the next one.